Well, Greg Olsen played for 14 years in the NFL, primarily for the Bears and the Panthers. He was a multiple-time Pro Bowler. Now he's a great broadcaster for Fox Sports. He's now joining us live. And, you know, there's the game of note on our network primarily is Packers-Eagles. Everybody will talk about that. It's interesting because, you know, Green Bay did something in the offseason I really liked. They identified, and you know this, you're as good as your identity, and they were a little bit young and reckless last year, very dependent on Jordan Love making plays, which he could do. But then in the offseason, they said, you know what, we're going to go get Josh Jacobs. We're going to be a little bit more of a power running team, and Jordan Love's not going to throw 38 times. He's going to throw 26. And I like that version. But he's banged up. Christian Watson's out. Jair Alexander banged up. And I don't know, Greg, if you've seen both these teams. I don't know if they can go into Philadelphia and win. I mean, are they just outmanned here?
Listen, I've been pretty clear. The multiple games I've called for Philadelphia, I think the Eagles from top to bottom have the best roster in football. Now, the caveat, by all measures, it sounds like that Hurts is going to be back out there at practice and take the next step in the concussion protocol. So obviously that's the big kind of question mark that lingers. But just overall big picture, top to bottom, both sides of the ball, both coordinators, head coach, play style, they're probably the best roster top to bottom in football. Now, how does that always play out? Not always the case in the NFL that the best team wins. So in this matchup, more about the Packers and the play style, I agree with you. Like, that was a conscious effort by LaFleur to say, okay, we're going to put last year we put a ton on Jordan Love.
Yes.
We put a ton on the youngest wide receiver core in football. And they took it way longer than anybody imagined going into the season. We called that upset win over the Cowboys there in the wild card round that kind of started the downfall in Dallas. But the biggest difference, remember now, their only ability to play that run style with Josh Jacobs and be more committed to all that heavy run and take some load off Jordan Love is completely dependent upon how good are they playing on defense, right? So every time everyone talks about, man, they've got this great run game, your ability to run the ball in the NFL is directly proportionate to your ability to play defense. If your defense can't get stops and Philly goes up and down the field, no one cares how good your running back is. Nobody cares if you run for 150 yards because you're going to run for 150 yards. You're going to score 17 points and we're going to score 30. So that's been the biggest difference. I think defensively in Green Bay, they've played well. I think they've and that run game and play good defense and then make the plays with the young athletic wide receiver core and Jordan Love. That formula has served them well. The question is against a team like Philly on the road that with a healthy Jalen Hurts, can score, can run, can pass, is explosive, and is one of the top defenses in football. Can you keep the game close enough to allow Josh Jacobs and this really fun, kind of diverse style of run game that LaFleur has concocted up? Can you play?
I got to ask you about something. I said this a couple days ago about Detroit. When Dan Campbell gives these speeches, sometimes I'm a little bit of a cynical media person. I go, oh, they're a little cringy, but they're not to the players. You guys are all, there's a brotherhood and a masculinity to football that I can't relate to. And one guy unravels a locker room if he's not on board. So I think Dan Campbell, I missed on that. I think he's a home run coach. Now, Sirianni can drive me crazy because he has assistants holding him back from players. He's barking at fans. But my brain goes to, well, Dan Campbell is very emotional. I didn't see it. It works. Do you ever watch the Sirianni theatrics as a player who's got a better feel of this than I do? Do you ever look at it and go, Nick, you're not a fan? Or do you get the emotion in an emotional city? Philadelphia works? Because I look at it and I think this is going to unravel. You can't have your coach being held off by assistants. How do you view him?
No, I think it's a great question, right? And that was something we always preached in the locker room. There's a difference between being emotional and being passionate, right? Emotion sometimes can get away from you and be a distraction. Passionate means like, I am so committed to the goals and the objectives of this unit that I'm willing to do anything and everything. When it comes to the emotion and the passion, whatever you want to classify it in this case on the sideline of these two guys, remember the advantage that they have is that they're not the play callers, right? So their team, their role on the team on game day is game day management, timeouts, end of game situations, before half, clock management. We got 4 downs here. Hey, we got to play for the touchdown. We're in field goal range. Whatever the game management, I think the two of these guys do it as well as anybody in football. I think that's their game day role, but they are not living and dying like Kevin O'Connell and Matt LaFleur and McVay, where they're living and dying with their call sheet in every single play. I'm mad about first down. I'm mad about the offensive holding call. I'm mad, but I've got to call 2nd and 20. Right. So it's a little bit of an advantage that the non-play calling head coaches have is they can really dive deep into messaging and vision and game day emotion and strategy and manage the team, manage the people, manage the relationships, because they don't have to do the play to play 1st and 10, 2nd and 5, 3rd and 2. That's a whole different advantage. Kevin O'Connell can't be losing his mind getting into it with defensive players because the offense is on the field. So again, it's a different role. I think it's 2 roles that these guys have obviously done as well as anybody in football. And I don't think Sirianni gets enough credit. I think right now Dan Campbell's getting all the flowers, and God, he probably even deserves more. What he's done there is remarkable. Sirianni, all he has done is win. He's won with different coordinators on both sides of the ball. Obviously, they draft incredible, they develop. I think Sirianni doesn't get enough credit. And I think to your point, it's a lot because of everyone sees the high emotion and the high. But as a player, I love it. I don't mind my coach being into it because that's how I was. Like, I'm cool with it.
I love that. Okay, I want to give you some time for this one. We got about 4 minutes left. There are times that I see players in Major League Baseball, the NBA, or football, they have a ceiling, and they get to the playoffs against the very best, and they hit the ceiling. And then there's Peyton Manning or A-Rod until the Yankees, or Aaron Judge, or Lamar Jackson. It's not a ceiling thing. They're clenching their teeth too hard. Lamar came out and said, I just get too antsy in these games. And, so like Aaron Judge dropping a fly ball, that's not Aaron Judge. That's not a ceiling thing. So how do you break through it? Bill Polian once told me with Peyton Manning, he said, Peyton, you're a teeth clencher. Give yourself a break. You make me uptight being around you in playoff game. And Peyton got some wins and got through it. How does Lamar do that?
Yeah, well, I think the last thing you just said, right, the Peyton example is sometimes in order to get through something, the only option is that's the way, right? The obstacle is the way. The only way through it is through it. So I think it's going to take one playoff win. I think it's going to get off to a fast start, right? And I think that's where coaches, I think Todd Monken's done a masterful job there since Harbaugh brought him in. We talked about this in our game we covered a couple weeks ago. He said that Harbaugh's done an unbelievable job surrounding Lamar Jackson with the right coordinator at the right time. And early in his career, they built it around his run. And now with Todd Monken, they've really he makes a bigger impact as a passer than he does as a runner. And that's kind of crazy to say for a guy like Lamar Jackson. So the point being made is understand who he is, understand what he does well, understand the emotion, the character, again, the relationship between coach, play caller, and in this case, the quarterback. Get him off to a really fast start. Call the plays that he loves. Call the plays he's had success with. See completions. See the ball go into the hands of your player. Get him tackled. Run. All the things that are the magic and the beauty of Lamar Jackson. You know who he is as a person. You know the caliber he wants to play at, and you know how much pressure he's putting on himself. You've got to coach around it. You've got to help him through that early in games, early in series, and let him settle into the first playoff game this weekend. And then you know what? One win turns into 2. All of a sudden, he gets that off of his back, and he's the Lamar Jackson that we've seen now for years and, potentially could win another MVP. So I can't stress enough X's and O's and who can draw the best plays. We are seeing week in and week out all across the NFL, the coaches that understand the relationships and the motivations of their players, playing to their strengths. Who are they as people? What motivates them? What scares them? Where are their weaknesses? Man, those guys that have a pulse of their players in their locker room are the reason you look around and they win the amount of games. That's Dan Campbell. That's Sirianni. That's Kevin O'Connell. That's Harbaugh. And so many of these guys, like, there's no question Harbaugh, Todd Monken, they know this. They know who Lamar is. They know the level of expectations he has for himself. They're going to do a good job settling him to this game this weekend and saying, hey, the better start we get, the more comfortable and the more pressure, the less pressure he feels. And when he feels no pressure, he's Lamar Jackson, and we see the magic that comes with him.
Greg Olsen, Fox Sports, 3 Pro Bowls, 14 years in the league. Credit to our industry. It's good seeing you as always, my friend.
I appreciate it, man. Stay safe out there. Hope you guys are doing all right.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.